Hello, I'm Jack Kaiser from Progressive Voices. In our last three programs, we talked with Nancy Coffey of the University of Wisconsin Extension about the prevalence of people in our community living at the poverty level and, more distressingly, the working poor working at the near poverty level. Today, we're going to talk about the nutritional needs of those people and one of the main programs in our community to help meet these nutritional needs. My guest today is Rachel Keniston, the Executive Director of the Community Table. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Jack.
Good to have you here. Tell us about the history and the mission of Community Table.
Community Table was started in response to a letter to the Voice of the People in the Leader Telegram. It stated that there were hungry people in Eau Claire. Did anyone care? This was in the early 90s. The Trinity Lutheran Church put out a banner, said they would host an open forum. Junior League of Eau Claire said, we'll join. That way we have the secular and faith-based communities together. And out of that meeting, out of that forum meeting, Community Table was born. Community Table is a 501(c) nonprofit. It has a board of directors. It has bylaws. The bylaws from the very beginning were formed knowing that the church faith-based community would be major players in making the meals happen. And so they stated in those bylaws that there would not be evangelizing or proselytizing, that a meal would be given to anyone who walked through the doors, no questions asked, that they wouldn't know why people were coming in, but that they would be given a meal. They stated that anyone who walks through those doors would be treated with dignity and respect. Those are still very important things today. Our mission statement today still rings true as it did at that time. We provide a nutritious, warm meal to anyone who walks through the doors. It's done 365 days a year, so every single day there is a meal. We have a two-part mission. The second is to educate the community as to the needs of those who need our services.
Where are you located now?
We're located at 320 Putnam Street, which people know as the Old Wholesome Bakery. It's a wonderful facility that is part of the Saigon Properties.
Tell us a little bit about the facilities within your unit.
When you walk in, we have a beautiful dining room, and it is truly a community effort. Our dining room tables and chairs came from the university, from the old Davies Center. There is some artwork that came from Sweetwater's when they closed. We have some artwork that a group of children from an art class did that has our logo in it. There's a coffee bar, and the coffee machine came, it was donated by a group of restaurant and bar owners, and the coffee bar itself came from a gas station that closed. So there's a little bit of community all through the space. Our kitchen space, we have the old walk-in cooler and freezer from Feed My People before they moved to their new facility. It's been through a lot of use, but we had some local refrigeration people, carpenters and electricians who worked and rebuilt it, and they have served us very, very well. Our equipment, our kitchen is set up so that there are stations. Volunteers can work on produce, volunteers can work on creating an entree, and there's other little areas where people can work on separate projects.
Tell us about your staff.
Community Table is staffed minimally and yet adequately. I am full-time as executive director. We have a 30-hour office administration person who does the business and the accounting and keeping track of donations. We have a kitchen operations manager who is full-time, and that person is essential to what we do. That person watches donations, watches the food, creates the menus, creates step-by-step plans for the people who are coming to volunteer. And then daily we have, during the serving time, a 5-hour shift, a person who is what's called an on-site coordinator. They help the serving teams in finding pots and pans, finding things that might be on that meal preparation guide, and just assisting with some basic cooking things.
And of course, most of the labor producing and serving these meals is performed by a volunteer team.
Yes, that is right. Each day there's a volunteer team that sponsors the meal, commits to having staff there to work, volunteers. We joke and we say they pay to volunteer. They give us a donation of $100 minimal and 8 gallons of milk. That way, that money is used for us to pay our rent.
What are the schedules of your meals throughout the week?
Meals are served on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 11:30 until 1 p.m. On Tuesdays and Fridays, we serve from 5 o'clock until 6:15. That's p.m., so it's a late afternoon meal. And on Sundays, we serve from 3 to 4 p.m.
Well, that wraps up an introduction to the history and the mission of Community Table, and would conclude this program we're having today. But would you be willing to come back for another interview to talk about exactly how all of this gets done?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.